In this video, we're going to be looking at Mobalytics. We're going to go through the features of the site and how I think it can improve your gameplay. Hi, I'm 1 Week and welcome to my channel where I review apps, programs and tech that I use while gaming. So today we're going to be looking at mobalytics.gg. We're going to start in the dashboard section. As you can see, it basically has an overview of you as a player. So in the top left, we'll start with our rank solo stats. So it has your rank, your win percentage, games played, and your GPI. We'll get into that when we go through the GPI section. Over here, you can set a goal and it gives you essentially some guide as to how achievable they think your goal is. So obviously if I go all the way up to master, it's not very realistic, but they think plat 4 is achievable. Next we have the live content window, which is some articles that Mobalytics put up. So if we click on that first one, it brings us over to here, and it's basically an article by TF Blade on his learnings from high elo. Next, as we go down a bit further, we have the skills to focus window. So this is the main skill in your GPI that is lacking behind, or that you could gain the most by improving. So mine's farming during the mid game. Then on the right, we have our most played champs and some stats about them in rank solo. So Lee Sin, 11 games, 72% win rate, 3.8 KDA, and then it slowly goes down. Below that on the left, we have the Gpi Breakdown. Again, we'll go through this a little bit further in the GPI window. Next, right in the center, we have the metric changes. So this is your GPI metrics and how they've changed in the last 5 games. So it can kind of give you an idea if you're particularly focusing on something, whether that's been improving, or even just other areas of your game that have changed in the last 5 games. And then lastly, we have the rank solo games in your last 3 games that are there, and gives you a quick overview of those as well. The next screen that we'll go on to is the profile screen. So again, this is just showing you your profile in much more detail than on the dashboard. So up the top, we have the GPI again, which we'll go through in a sec. It has your rank in both rank solo and rank flex. And then down below, we have the overview. So you can kind of go through, it gives you your top roles, your recent games. You can also change the season, the game type, and you can also search directly for champions in here. It also has your champion stats, a few more champions than on the dashboard screen. Below that is the daily activity, so it sort of shows you when you've been playing your games and how those days have gone, which is kind of interesting. And then your recent records in sort of small form. And then in the middle, right down the center, we have all your recent games, how you went in those games, and some sort of breakdown in stats of those. If we scroll back up to the top here, you can see in the champions tab, this just goes into more detail basically of every champion that you've played this season, or you can even change that up into season. And then if we go across to match history, again, this is basically the same as our in our overview. It's just more detail and shows many more matches as well. And then lastly, if we go across to records, these are basically the quickest things you've done, or any sort of cool records that you have. So if we can go across to ranked, we can have a look at our records there. So the quickest loss, longest losing streak, most deaths, highest KDA, assists, longest loss, all things like that, which is all just kind of cool and interesting. So on this screen is the Pregame Analysis. This screen becomes available once you enter loading screen of your game. Up the top, we have the AD and AP ratio split of both your team and the enemy's team. And then from there down, it gives you a little breakdown of each player. So it has their total rank games and win percentage in this season, as well as the champion ranked stats. So games played and win percentage. And then it also has the option to check their entire profile as well. And then it runs down the list that way. In the middle, we have the rough build guide for the champion, and this is the most popular build at the moment, is what it recommends to you. So as we scroll a bit further down, the next section is the champion power spike guide. So it gives you an early, mid and late game guide to when your champion and the enemy champion power spikes. The section below that is the team power spikes, which essentially does the same thing, but just compares your team to the enemy team. Below that is the playing against section, which gives you some tips for playing against the enemy champion, which also you can hit the see more button and it'll give you more tips. And then lastly, it gives you the Gank Opportunities, which essentially tells you which lanes are most vulnerable to a gank, and does this for both you and the enemy team. So we're now at the GPI overview. So this is Mobalytics' own algorithm that it comes up with to basically help you and coach you and give you specific things to focus on during your gameplay. So up the top again, we can select the game type, and you can also select specific things, so how many games, as well as in specific roles. And then you can also choose all champions or specific champions as well. The next step down, we have the Gpi Breakdown, which is essentially based on how many games you've played. So if we change it from 50 to 100, this will also change the Gpi Breakdown as well. So it changes to that. So the next step is the overview for our jungle role specifically. So again, we can change that if we pick different games up the top, and gives you in all their metrics where they think you are. So your score versus the average score as well. And again, this is just on the last 5 games, and then it has the 10 most recent games down here. Now we'll get to the main section of the GPI, which is this graph that it gives you. So again, it goes through all these different areas, so fighting, farming, vision, aggression, survivability, objectives, consistency, and versatility. So if we click on one, we'll use the one that I'm struggling with particularly, and it'll give us some information about that. So as you can see in the farm skill breakdown, it has 5 categories and gives you an idea of sort of what you should be doing. So my CS at 20 minutes is 99.1, my farm efficiency is 51%, and my time to second item. I can also click on how these other categories that farming takes into account. So for example, general income, it gives me an overview of all my income sources, my farm efficiency, my early game, my mid game, my late game farming. And then down below that, it shows how the metrics are allocated. So late game is 10% of your final farming score, general income, and etc. So if we go back to the main screen here, this graph I find really useful to provide a visual sense of how you're performing in League of Legends, and to really show you, I guess, a simple way of what you need to do to improve. So farming is a big one for me, especially in that mid game, as well as things like vision and survivability I can also improve. So there's 2 more features that this site has. One is the summoner search. So you can use this to search any summoner in the game and have a look at their stats. You can also choose any region. And lastly, we have the paid option. So progress analysis is one of them. I choose to use the free feature as I feel like I get enough value from it, but just so you're aware, you can upgrade and pay a fee. So I'll show you what that looks like. So it's $7.99 per month, and this is what it includes. I tend to stick to the free version, but it is an option if you would like it. So that's Mobalytics. I really like it because it can be used both as a simple way to see where you can improve and how you can improve, as well as go very in depth into your stats, into exactly what you can do to improve, as well as, I guess, tracking that improvement with sort of some simple metrics that break down if you are improving, or you might be improving in one area but then slipping in another area to make up for that. So if you liked the video, don't forget to let me know in the comments if you use Mobalytics or not. And if you do like the channel and want to see more of these types of videos, please subscribe for more videos.